no disrespect him, but sometimes it's a little crazy that people talking about a small fighter like Charlo. He's big, which he.
Terence Crawford and Canelo Alvarez are about to face one of the biggest and most exciting challenges in recent boxing history. Both are world champions, and this fight could define their legacies. It's expected to be the fight of the year. Crawford is taking on a huge challenge by moving up from the welterweight division to the super middleweight division in just 2 fights. An incredible and almost unimaginable achievement.
I tell you like this, the man must have seen something when he called Canelo out, because you got to remember, bro called Canelo out. So he must see something in order for him to get that win, and he know he can win.
If there's any boxer who can make such an incredible jump, it's Terence Crawford. One of his greatest strengths is his ability to ignore critics. He proved it before his fight with Errol Spence, when many doubted him, but he ended up dominating and pushing Spence out of the spotlight for nearly 2 years. Now, as Crawford moves up 2 weight classes to face Canelo Alvarez, he's once again ignoring the doubters. If he wins, he will become the first male boxer in history to be undisputed champion in 3 different weight divisions, a historic achievement that will forever secure his place in boxing history.
So no make sense when you guys say that right now. At the end of the day, I don't want to have credit to face Crawford, but
To achieve this historic goal, Terence Crawford knows he must train with extreme focus and intensity for the biggest fight of his career. While Crawford prepares, Canelo Alvarez is also getting ready for a May fight against William Skull. It's rare these days to see fighters with the experience and accomplishments of Crawford and Canelo face each other. Together, they have over 100 fights, multiple world titles, and many big wins. In a match this technical and intense, some believe the weight difference will decide the outcome. But that may turn out to be completely wrong on fight night.
First off, how excited are you about it, and break the fight down for us?
Well, I ain't gonna break the fight down for you because I don't want to get a game plan away. But I'm excited for Terence more than anything to get the fight that he wants, to show the world that he's great. He's great.
People believe Crawford should take a tune-up fight at a 160-pound catch weight to help him prepare, but that's still uncertain. On the other hand, because the fight with Crawford is so important, Canelo Alvarez might decide to take more time off to stay fresh. However, based on his past, Canelo usually doesn't like to rest for too long. As for his next opponent, William Skull seems to be the top choice. The IBF super middleweight champion has reportedly been in talks with Canelo's team since the beginning of the year.
It's a little crazy that people talking about a small fighter like Charlo. He's big.
Canelo Alvarez is now 34 years old, and although he hasn't shown any signs of slowing down, he's likely entering the final chapter of his boxing career. In a recent interview with Ring magazine, Canelo spoke about retirement, saying, "I don't know. I'm getting closer to retirement, obviously, but I feel great, better than ever, maybe at 38. I think 38 would be the perfect time to start thinking about it." He added that he has taken on tough and sometimes unnecessary fights, but he enjoys taking risks. "I've taken risks my whole career. I love the challenges and what I do. I try to prove to everyone how good I am. I enjoy moving up and down in weight. I don't look at my record and say, I did this. My trainer always reminds me of the things I've accomplished, especially all the world champions I've faced. It's very impressive."
Terence Crawford as one of the top 5 fights that he wants to see this year. Is that a fight that you're considering now?
We'll see. We'll see. Everything is possible. We'll see. We want to talk about it. Sit down.
Canelo Alvarez last fought and defeated Edgar Berlanga in September 2024. Reports now suggest that his rumored fight against Terence Crawford could become a reality in 2025. However, the future of this potential super fight is still uncertain. Both fighters have current commitments, and whether the bout happens will depend on contract negotiations and strategic decisions from both camps. Interestingly, Very few fighters have faced both Crawford and Canelo. The only one to do so in the professional ring is Amir Khan, who suffered knockout losses to both. He has already shared his thoughts on how a Crawford versus Canelo matchup might play out.
What do I think of that fight?
Yeah.
I think that, everybody knows that Crawford got the skills. I do think that Canelo's a little big for Crawford, and it'll be a tall task.
A few other fighters have sparred with both Terence Crawford and Canelo Alvarez, and one of them recently shared his thoughts on how the dream fight might go. That fighter is middleweight contender Kyrone Davis, who also faced Canelo's rival David Benavidez back in November 2021. In an interview with Mill City Boxing, Davis said he believes it would be a very tough fight for Crawford and would favor Canelo to win. He explained, "Canelo is a big guy. It's a lot to deal with. He can take a punch, so you're not going to hurt Canelo. I don't think Crawford can hurt him with one shot. Maybe he can cut him."
It'll be a lot you have to. It'll be a lot to get that victory based on size alone. Not that size wins fights, but you got a guy that got size and skills. It'll be hard.
Davis also mentioned that Crawford will need to go to the body and use his power to wear Canelo down, saying he's going to have to land some solid punches and focus on the body. It's going to be a tough task. Canelo is a skilled fighter with great moves and traps. It's not going to be easy. Nothing is impossible in boxing, but if I had to bet, I'd put my money on Canelo. I'm not taking anything away from Crawford, but Canelo is just that good. Davis also believes Canelo, being the bigger fighter.
Terence Crawford says he wants to fight Canelo. He's changed his tune. He said he's willing to move up 3 weight divisions. To me, that's kind of crazy, but that just shows you, man, the dog that's in Terence Crawford. If Canelo is victorious against
Oscar De La Hoya insists that his opinions on any potential fight involving Canelo Alvarez are unbiased. The former world champion has a strong belief about how a fight between Canelo and Terence Crawford would play out. De La Hoya thinks Canelo, with his greater size and power, would have a clear advantage over Crawford. He said, "At 5'8", Crawford didn't look too dangerous against a beast like Spence, so imagine Canelo, being the bigger guy, being a beast. It's almost like a no contest. I mean, come on. When has a smaller, skilled fighter ever beaten a bigger, skilled fighter? It's rare in the history of the sport." De La Hoya went on to explain that Crawford, known for his technical skills and punching power, would face a major...
Terence Crawford will beat Canelo anytime. Anytime. Because, and this is...
While some experts believe Terence Crawford has the skills to compete with Canelo Alvarez, the difference in size and power could be a major factor. Demetrius Andrade, a former super middleweight world champion, also shared...
just too much overall. Is that kind of the same thing with the Crawford and Canelo because of the weight classes, the weight between them?
Yeah, I believe so.
Demetrius Andrade, a good friend of Terence Crawford, shared his thoughts on the potential fight. He said, "I love Crawford. He's a good friend, and we've traveled the world together through the amateur program. He's seen me beat people, and I've seen him do the same. The stories could go on, but when it comes to weight and power, that stuff is real." Andrade acknowledged Crawford's immense talent and skill. However, he believes Canelo has a significant advantage because of his size and experience in higher weight classes. "Canelo is a big, bad wolf, and he can go all night," Andrade explained. "I think Crawford has the skills, but when it comes to Canelo landing shots and avoiding his power..."
Crawford, he's a good friend. We reach out to each other. We've traveled the world through the amateur program. He see me beat people up. I see him beat people up. He see me get beat up. I got beat up. We both...
Roy Jones Jr. shared his thoughts on the hypothetical matchup between Terence Crawford and Canelo Alvarez. While he praised Crawford's talent and skills, the legendary boxer leaned toward Canelo as the favorite.
Time to take over and start beating the guys around him, prove that he's the best of that group. Bud is in a group above him. Bud don't need to come back down to 47 to meet him.
Roy Jones Jr. said, "I like Terence, but I'm going to lean toward Canelo because of his size, especially early in the fight. However, if Canelo lets Terence get into the fight, Terence will be a problem. If Terence can handle the size, he'll beat him."
Looking to try to make history and get out. Get his big bank and get out. His big bank is who? Canelo. He willing to take that gamble.
Roy Jones Jr. explained, "That's what I'm saying. We don't know until we see Terrence get hit, because we haven't seen him take that kind of power." He continued, "That's the deciding factor. If you can change Bud's game plan, you've got a chance of beating him. But if you can't hurt him, you can't change his game plan, and that's when you've got problems." This analysis highlights the importance of Crawford finding a way to neutralize Canelo's renowned power. If Crawford can impose his technical, boxing skills and avoid Canelo's devastating punches, he could have a chance.
If he beats him, he may go fight Benavidez next. If he don't beat him, he say, "Okay, I took it as high as I could go. I'm done."
That'd be crazy. That'd be crazy if he...
International boxing. Federation interim champion William Skull has been mentioned as a possible opponent for Canelo Alvarez. This wasn't always the case for Roy Jones Jr., though. The Hall of Fame fighter, who is also a promoter, trainer, and respected analyst, previously shared scenarios where he saw both Terrence Crawford and David Benavidez beating Canelo. However, he later changed his prediction. Starting with Benavidez, Jones said, "It's a tough fight to call because Benavidez throws a lot of punches. Sometimes power can change things and make it a different situation."
I'm not sure about that because Crawford does have punching power and shock, but I think Canelo's a little big. He showed tonight that he's pretty big, so I probably would rather see.
The problem is Canelo willing to take the risk? I don't think he will right now because he doesn't feel he has a reason. 2. If he can't hurt Benavidez early in the first 3 or 4 rounds, I don't see him winning that fight. The 2-time 168 LB titleist, Benavidez, has been pushing for a shot at Alvarez for the last 2 years. Meanwhile, Terrence Crawford, formerly recognized as the best welterweight in the world, is open to moving up 2 weight classes for a chance to fight the Mexican star. Alvarez, however, maintains that a win against Crawford wouldn't do much for his legacy, even though many people are giving Crawford a real chance at victory.
Fight Crawford first, and then see how that goes. If he does good against Charlo with the weight, then let's see him come up and fight Canelo. Yeah.
If anyone can do it, and pull it off, it's Crawford, so you can't count him out, said Roy Jones Jr. I was the kind of guy that, if someone said they were better than me and I could get close to their weight, I'd be coming for them. I gave up 33 pounds to John Ruiz when I won the heavyweight title in 2003. I didn't care. I wanted to prove I was the pound-for-pound best and do something historic that had never been done. That's probably how Bud feels right now. He wants to do something historic to solidify his legacy in boxing. Who doesn't want to see the pound-for-pound best from yesterday fight the pound-for-pound best from today? Who wouldn't want to? See that fight? It's a mega fight. If he puts on the muscle and the weight, how can you doubt him? One thing's for sure. He's going to go out there and fight, not just collect a paycheck. He's going to go out there and try to win, because that's who Bud is. If he can carry the weight, it'll be a great fight. He can box like Floyd Mayweather.
Now, I want to see Crawford come up with some weight classes and show he can be dominant at 54. You understand me?
That fight will go Crawford and
Crawford won a pound best.
Roy Jones Jr., who fluctuated in weight during the latter part of his career as a 4-division title holder, said Alvarez should continue his career at super middleweight. It's definitely best that Alvarez stays at 168. I didn't understand why he moved up to 175 to fight Dmitry Bivol. Anyway, Jones continued, he had already beaten Sergey Kovalev, who was at the end of his career. Bivol was in the middle of his, and they're 2 different animals. He caught Kovalev at the right time. Go back down and dominate where you are. Don't try to fight another one because lightning ain't gonna strike twice. On the other hand, former WBO and WBC light welterweight champion Tim Bradley believes neither Bivol nor Canelo can derail the Bud.
I don't think we've seen anything like Terrence Crawford. In all my years of boxing, I know that for a fact. I do study history. I've never seen anybody that has everything.
Tim Bradley recently told Fight Hype, I think the only person that can beat Crawford is himself at this point. Canelo is the champion, and he must be respected, but as far as skill for skill, Crawford, all day. Bradley continued, I think Crawford will do well against Canelo. I really do. Would I be nervous if they were to fight? Hell yeah, because Canelo can punch and all it takes is one big punch. But as long as Crawford uses his legs, his athleticism, and his defense to avoid the shots, he should be able to beat Canelo. Interestingly, Bradley believes Crawford
speed, power, timing, can switch the way he switches, to have the toughness, the meanness that he has, the way he finishes guys, the way he breaks down guys.
Crawford, who is about to turn 37, has never fought above 147 pounds and would be moving up in weight without being tested at 160 or 168 by the top contenders. More fans would likely agree with Bradley if Crawford were interested in proving himself at 160 against tough opponents and at 168 to show that he can compete at that level. Many fans perceive Crawford as being in a hurry to get a huge payday.
Guys that I've ever seen in the ring, right up there with Floyd Mayweather. So, yeah, I would pick Terence Crawford to beat a Canelo Alvarez, even at 160.
This is the problem with the fact that he fought Jermell Charlo, said Tim Bradley, reacting to Canelo Alvarez's statement that he's not interested in fighting welterweight Terence Crawford because there's nothing to gain from the fight. Charlo came in at 154. He moved up a couple of weight classes to fight Canelo, but he just went in there and survived. He didn't really try to win, he just felt like he wasn't on Canelo's level. Bradley continued. The difference with Crawford is his mentality. He's a top pound-for-pound guy. However, Bradley also pointed out that we don't know if Crawford will be any different from Charlo because he's not volunteering to test himself against some of the top super...
Everybody can call me crazy and whatever you want to say. I get it. Y'all didn't believe me when I told you about Spence, but trust me, Crawford will figure out a way.
If Crawford chose to prove himself against David Benavidez or David Morrell, you could feel confident that he wasn't just showing up for the payday against Canelo without trying to win, said Tim Bradley. Since Crawford has no intention of fighting anyone at 168 before facing Canelo, you can only conclude that this is about money and nothing else. Bradley continued. Charlo was never a top pound-for-pound guy. It's Crawford's skill set that stands out. He's a competitor, man.
I don't know, and I ain't gonna tell you why I would pick Terence Crawford, but it's part of the secret is the reason why I'm picking him to win the fight. So,
is it like a skill set? Is it like a preparation thing, or?
Nope, I'm not.
Am I nervous about the fight? If they fight, hell yeah, because Canelo can punch. That dude can punch, and all it takes is one shot, said Tim Bradley. If he hits a guy like Terence, who's coming up 3 weight classes to face him, it could change the fight. However, just like we saw with Floyd Mayweather, Mayweather was able to outbox Canelo in 2013 when Canelo was 22 years old. Mayweather was able to outthink him. Bradley uses Mayweather as an example to argue that Crawford can give up significant size against Canelo and still beat him.
Put it like this. If the fight was to happen, you will see. Yeah.
Because a lot of people think Terence can't.
It wasn't a situation where Mayweather moved up to 168 and fought a prime version of Canelo at full strength, said Tim Bradley. But I think Crawford has the ability to outbox him, outthink him, make him miss and make him pay. As long as Crawford isn't catching too many of Canelo's punches and uses his legs, athleticism, and defense to avoid them, he should be able to beat Canelo.
Canelo, because he's been hit by bigger guys, he's not gonna, I don't want to say show him respect, but he's going to be able to go, okay, I could walk through this. I could take a little risk and set up my traps, cut the ring off, dig to the body, and wear Terence down over the rounds.
I'm just going to tell you like this.
Canelo is slow and plots forward. He has a good jab, quickness, and throws a lot of hooks. But Crawford just gets away from all of that and gets underneath them. He should be able to beat Canelo, said Tim Bradley. We're basing this on what Charlo was able to do, but Charlo didn't do anything. He was scared and didn't want to get knocked out. I don't blame him. He didn't want to end up on a poster. But you said you wanted to be great, and you weren't great that night. Crawford is daring to be great, and I think he can do it. While Canelo hasn't paid much attention to the challenge, the fans definitely have, and they're divided on what would happen. However, Sean Porter, who knows Crawford well, says he's concerned.